American Fiction is the story of writer Monk Ellison, played by Jeffrey Wright, a frustrated black author who writes a stereotypically black book under a pseudonym that ends up taking off. While navigating his ever-changing family life, Monk must also secretly deal with the acclaim his book is now receiving. This was the AMC Screen Unseen movie from this past week, so I got to see it a couple weeks before it came out. And going into it, I had only seen one trailer, and that was from the day before whenever I was in the movie theater, and I thought the movie looked pretty funny. I had heard good things about Jeffrey Wright's performance, but for the most part, I didn't really know what to expect going in. It was good seeing it in a large audience. There are plenty of big laughs in the movie. It's very, very cleverly written by writer-director Cord Jefferson, who is making his directorial debut in this movie. He previously wrote for shows like Watchmen and The Good Place, so he has a lot of experience under his belt, and it really showed in the writing for this movie. His direction wasn't anything flashy. It was certainly serviceable for what kind of movie this was. I did think that some scenes he did a really good job, particularly ones where Monk is writing and the events are kind of unfolding in the room that he's in. It creates a really good scene that features Keith David, and I mean, who doesn't love Keith David? But it really shows in this movie that, at least for right now, writing is his strong suit. He had some opportunities in here to really show off his direction skill. It's clear from this movie that for now, writing is definitely his strong suit as opposed to his direction. But I mean, for a first feature, he didn't do a bad job, and he did show certain flashes throughout the movie. It wasn't just anything particularly incredible. Jeffrey Wright is absolutely outstanding as Monk in this movie. It's a good, solid, classic Jeffrey Wright performance. He always seems to be able to play the adult in the room effectively well, but in this movie you also got to see him be funny and really show off his comedic timing, which, at least for me, I haven't really seen a lot from him in the past, aside from maybe some of his Wes Anderson roles. But the beautiful part about casting an actor like Jeffrey Wright is he can pull off the dramatic scenes. So whenever this movie goes from being a comedy to having more serious moments, you completely buy it because Jeffrey Wright is an A-plus actor. He knows how to deliver his lines, and for me, the only concern in this movie was how he was going to perform comedically, if he could balance, the comedy with the dramatic elements, because this movie obviously covers some very serious themes, but completely pulled it off. Good performance by Jeffrey Wright. This movie also does a great job of establishing the state of Monk's family, because there are some very serious problems going on. His mother's getting older. She's not really doing well. His brother is a disaster. He's also played excellently by Sterling K. Brown, who I didn't realize was in this movie, but he was great. And something happens with Monk's sister early on in the movie that I don't want to give away, but it takes a very unexpected turn. This movie gets very serious out of nowhere, but surprisingly, it works very well. None of it seems cheap. All of it seems like a real family struggling. And then at the same time, Monk hasn't really been present with his family for a few years. He's been off in California being a writer, doing his own thing without giving his family the focus that they deserve. And I just found myself very bought into the family dynamic established in this movie, and it all just felt very authentic. The plot was funny and also very informative for me. It may come to shock you, but some of the themes in this movie don't exactly affect me on the day-to-day, but this movie found a way to present the themes without it feeling heavy-handed and also being entertaining, which I found to be a real testament to the script. Again, Cord Jefferson really knows how to write a script. This is kind of an aside, but I loved the dynamic between Monk and his agent as well. Any scene where it was those two on screen, I was 100% in. Now, where this movie really fumbles is in its ending, which felt like a real cop-out, in my opinion. And I don't really know what's going on in Hollywood right now, but the ending of this movie was extremely similar to the ending of like Killers of the Flower Moon and Asteroid City, where if you've seen those movies, you may know what I'm talking about, but the ending of this movie, it felt like they didn't really know how to end it, and so it just kind of ends with them kind of breaking the fourth wall in a way that felt cheap. And I really hope it's not becoming a common theme, because that was my biggest issue with Asteroid City. Killers of the Flower Moon, it really ticked me off because, well, we just sat there for 3.5 hours. I want to see the plot, not just a play talking about what then went on to happen. And the ending of this really soured me on the movie as a whole because we literally do not get resolution with one of the loose plot threads, which is a huge problem for me. And the movie tries to be kind of clever with this and sort of make it a commentary of, audience expectations with movies, how audiences aren't smart, they need a clear resolution. But that doesn't mean you get to cop out and just not give us anything regarding one of the characters and Monk's relationship at the end. It just really rubbed me the wrong way because we just spent 2 hours in the story and now at the very end, you're basically going to pull the rug out from underneath us. It feels like sort of the whole thing was a dream element, except it's kind of alluded to that everything that happened did, but we just don't know exactly what happened with one of the plots. And originally this movie appeared like it will have cut to black at a certain moment, and I would have been fine with that. But instead they spend the next 2 minutes just doing really random stuff, made no sense, and it really soured the movie for me. So at the end of the day, you guys, this is a solid movie. There's loads of laughs in here. I am just going to imagine that it cut to black at a moment where it should have ended, but it's not going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year. It's just a really solid movie to go watch with a big audience, and Jeffrey Wright gives a fantastic performance. But that's everything that I have to say about American Fiction. Thank you so much for watching the video up to this point, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and you want to see more. Bye.